Hello, everybody. I'm back. Is this thing on? Let's see. Let's check the YouTubers. My camera seems to be glitching a little bit. Let's see. Where are we? Open it up here. We're going out on the internet. Well, it looks like it. Yeah, that's me. All right. Getting some real nasty video, though. Skip frames due to encoding lag. I don't know what's going on with that. I haven't done anything different. Oh, that's just the way it is, man. Welcome to Thursday night's Minutes with Milo live edition. As you know, maybe you don't know, it's Thursday, like I just said, and Thursdays are my Fridays. So, I had I won't say interesting, I won't say hectic day at work today. And after work, I went to watch some drag racing. So locally, they have a thing called street fights, and you can take any kind of car down there, your mom's minivan, your drag car, anything, run it through tech, fill out the forms, and, run up and down the drag strip. Well, run down the drag strip. You're not supposed to come back. They frown upon that. So, as I'm watching it, and I've watched drag racing for years and years and years. But most of the time, I watch heads up drag racing, meaning, the first guy to the finish line wins. And it's just always have trusted, the win light comes on and this guy over in the right lane wins or this guy over in the left lane wins and go on with it. Look at, the speed. Speed's interesting. But the time, not so much. And I have noticed, bracket racing where it's really down to math. I just can't get into that. But and I think that's because it's not simple. If you understand it, it seems to be fairly simple. But if you don't understand it like me, it's not simple. So I don't really pay attention to it. Well, tonight when I was watching, drag racing, it came up again that the fastest car doesn't always win. Does the quickest car always win? Because we see, and then this is when it starts getting into the reaction time and how fast it goes to the first 60 feet and then the next 100 feet and then so on and so forth. And does it speed up as it, pick up, I don't know how you'd say it, but does it speed up more than it goes down the track? Of course, it goes faster, but, it goes faster at a certain rate, and then it can go faster at a faster rate. If that makes sense. And see, I don't know if I even described that stuff right. But I thought I would come home, do the show, and see if my old buddy Grok 3 could help me out. Now, if you watched the last video, which sad to say, not too many people have seen it, it's not responding. Last week when I tried to do the video and play a little trivia pursuit with it, it said that I'd used up all my questions, which I didn't appreciate because the only thing I asked it to do was draw me pictures and then adjust those pictures. And then boom, it said, I'm done with you, you idiot. We had to go to Gemini. And so tonight I went to Grok and, put in my request. I wanted it to draw a drag racing, as they're called, a Christmas tree. the lights. Go, the green light. And I wanted one to show in the green light, which means go, and the other one with a red light, which means you went before you were supposed to. But Grok didn't respond. So then I asked Gemini to draw it. And it drew me something totally different. I didn't use the word Christmas tree the first time because I knew what would happen. And when it just drew me two lights on pavement, one in front of the other. One was red and one was green. You idiot. So then I used the word Christmas tree. And boom. It gave me exactly what I thought it would. And not what I wanted, but what I thought it would give me. And I used it. So when you look at the thumbnail of this thing, it's a Christmas tree with a red and green light on top of it. Just understand, that's artificial intelligence right now as we know it. And I know I've been harping on this, or I've been going over artificial intelligence. It's incorporated in probably the last 4 or 5 shows. Just because Grok 3 was interesting and Gemini's stupid. Not saying that Grok 3 is very bright. But you would think, if you reference, I want to drag racing, Christmas tree, that it would be smart enough to think, oh, he's talking about the little thing that goes, caution, 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 green. And then if you go too fast, one's red, down here at the bottom, boom, one's red. No, man, it's just not that smart right now. So I used the picture that Gemini made me of the drag racing Christmas tree with one of the lights red and one of the lights green. Oh well. So we are at the mercy tonight, I'm afraid to say, of Gemini. Why do I say that? Because just before I started the video, the stream, I tried to ask Grok, explain the drag racing time thing to me, and it said, ooh, sorry, Grok is not responding. But we'll try it again, just to see if we can figure out what Gemini says. And Gemini, if you don't know, is Elon Musk's artificial intelligence. No, I'm sorry. Gemini's Google's. Grok is Elon Musk's. So, Gemini, Google, Grok, Musk. So we'll see what Gemini maybe answers, and then if we can, see what Grok answers. If it wakes up, if it's on a nap, hiatus. Oh, no, go this way. There we go. All right, so let me see. I've got it. I need to shrink it down a little bit. Can I shrink it down over here a little bit? Because it's way too big. All right, let's see. Does that work better? I think that works better. Yes. So here's this is Gemini. There's the racing Christmas tree. And you can see the people in the background like they're at a drag race. And then here's the one. Nope, they didn't give it to me. Why does it take it away? I asked it the same question. Huh. All right. I don't like it as much as I do Grok right now, just because it's, I don't know, it's bothering me. So let's see what I asked it. I said, can you explain the time versus speed aspect of drag racing? Aspect of drag racing. You got to ask an intelligent question. Aspect is an intelligent word. So it responds. Is this? Oh, this isn't. Okay. I can't read. I can't get the screen to read it to me like I did in Grok because I'm not using Microsoft's product. I'm using something else for the browser. It says the relationship between time and speed in drag racing is fundamental to understanding a car's performance. Here's a breakdown. Let's see if this helps me any. Elapsed time, ET, is the total time it takes for a vehicle to travel a specific distance, typically a quarter mile or 320 feet, or an eighth mile, 660 feet, from the moment the starting lights turn green until it crosses the finish line. I've got that. ET is the primary measure of performance in drag racing. The car with the lower ET wins, assuming no rule infractions, like a red light start. See, it knows that. Why didn't it draw me a drag racing Christmas tree with one green, one red light? It knows this. It just couldn't freaking put it together. ET reflects the average speed of the vehicle over the entire run and how effectively the car accelerates throughout the race. All right, so that's what I was kind of trying to allude to earlier and screwed up was, I have no idea about how you would explain the feet per second. Let's just use feet per second and some stupid numbers that I can understand. So when a car starts out, it might travel, 10 feet per second as it's coming out of a dead stop and trying to accelerate. And then the further it goes, it accelerates harder or more. So it starts out maybe at 10 feet per second. Then as it travels down the track, it might be accelerating then at 15 feet per second, and then at 20 feet per second, and then at 25 feet per second. So as it's getting faster, miles per hour wise, it's also accelerating harder, faster, however you want to say it. So until it reaches a point where it either runs out of energy and it can't accelerate any faster, or it reaches the end of the track. Trap speed. Hey Garthok, how's it going? I'm banging my head against the wall about drag racing times and speed. Trap speed. Yeah, peachy. Trap speed measures the vehicle's average speed over a short distance near the finish line, typically the last 66 feet. It indicates the peak power and aerodynamic efficiency of the vehicle as it crosses the finish line. A higher trap speed generally suggests the car is making more horsepower and/or has less aerodynamic drag at high speeds. While ET determines the winner, trap speed provides valuable insight into the car's potential and how well it maintains acceleration towards the end of the run. So, Garthok, I'm trying to figure out in my mind, why doesn't the fastest car always win? Time versus speed, all that stuff, I don't know. All right, so now we're getting into the interplay. A lower ET generally correlates with a higher trap speed. As a faster car will cover the distance in less time and will likely be traveling at a higher speed at the finish. That's what I understand. And here comes. However, This isn't always a perfect correlation. A car with excellent initial acceleration resulting in a good 60-foot time might achieve a low ET but have a lower trap speed if its power falls off in the later part of the race or if it has significant aerodynamic drag. Conversely, a car with high top end power may have a higher trap speed but a slightly slower ET if it has a poor launch due to traction issues. So, I mean, I've known this is kind of true, and I'm just trying to figure out how a car that does 120 miles an hour can beat a car that does 130 miles an hour. It just doesn't make sense to me. Because it's a faster car. And that's where my brain is always stuck in that. How can a car that runs faster not get there quicker and then beat the slower car? All right. In essence, ET tells you who won the race. Trap speed tells you how fast the car was at the very end and gives an indication of its power. Drag racers analyze both ET and trap speed along with other data like the 60-foot time and intermediate times to understand their car's performance at different stages of the race and to identify areas for improvement in their setup and driving technique. A time slip collected after each run provides all this crucial information. Right, we talked about reaction time. All right, so that's the basics. I got the basics. I'm going to say, can you give me an example All right, so I'm asking, can you give me an example of a time slip that shows this? Let's see what we get. Oh, it's quite impressive. Here's an example of a simplified drag racing time slip and an explanation of how it illustrates the time versus speed aspect. All right, let's look at this. Oh, it says I can use a microphone. Well. We might try that in our next question. All right, so lane 1, car 123. Reaction time was 0.150 seconds, which I guess is okay. So it went through the 60 foot at 1.8 seconds, the 330 foot at 5.2 seconds. All right, so 2 times is 120, 2 times of that is 240. All right, I'm trying to figure out how many 60 foots are in 330 feet, and it doesn't come out evenly. All right. So the 8th mile it went 8 seconds. Its 8th mile per hour is 85. At 1,000 foot is 10.5 seconds. Quarter mile ET was 12.5. Trap speed was 105. The quickest car off the starting line and has the fastest time from the start to finish line wins. Yes, but but I know it gets, if you mile per hour more in the end, you're covering more ground, and seems like you should be able to potentially overcome that And some people do. Some cars do overcome a poor reaction time by mile per houring faster on the top end of the track near the end and still win. So, I guess some of it's, I guess in my mind, it's not always concrete about that. All right, so let's see. So it doesn't talk about a second car. Okay, reaction time, this is how quickly the driver reacted to the green light. It doesn't affect the elapsed time, but a good reaction time is crucial for winning close races. An example of 0.15 seconds is a decent reaction time. And see, right there it says that the reaction time doesn't affect the overall ET, because the ET is triggered from when the car actually breaks the upper beam and then breaks the bottom beam. Is that what it meant by elapsed time? Is that what it explained elapsed time before? Elapsed time. This is the total time it takes for a vehicle to travel a specific distance, typically a quarter mile or eighth mile, from the moment the starting lights turn green, now see, until it crosses the finish line. But that is not the same thing as what it's saying down here. It's saying reaction time. Oh, let's see. It says reaction time doesn't affect elapsed time. But your reaction time is from when the light turns green and your car moves. Well, it doesn't explain reaction time. Well, I mean, in a way it does. Reaction time is how quickly the driver reacts to the green light. It doesn't affect the elapsed time. But do you, Garthog, do you follow my confusion in this part of it? Not the overall piece, but this part. If he's saying reaction time, if Gemini is saying reaction time doesn't affect the elapsed time, how can that be true? Because if you sit and the light turns green and your reaction time, that means before your car even breaks the starting beam, is 2 seconds. Isn't that 2 seconds put into the elapsed time, according to what it said before? Because it said it used, maybe it's just not understanding its words. Because it says the elapsed time is total time it takes for a vehicle to travel a specific distance from the moment the starting lights turn green until it crosses the finish line. Let's read on. 60 foot. This is the time it took the car to travel the first 60 feet from the starting line. It's a key indicator of the car's launch and initial acceleration. A lower 60-foot time generally leads to a better overall ET. Here it's 1.85 seconds, shows a decent launch. Right, running their own race in their own line. But in the if I ask it another question, I'm afraid I'll lose what I've got here. Maybe not. Let me see what it says here. So here's my question: does the ET start when uh, the beam is broken? When the timing start, the timing beam is broken, or when the light turns green? See what it says this. Okay, it says when it in drag racing, the elapsed time starts when the vehicle moves and breaks the staging beams after the green light illuminates. Then reaction time does affect the car's ET. Okay, so he's saying I'm confused, which I am. Can you read this up here? You're touching on a very uh, common point of confusion, so let's clarify it carefully. No, the driver's reaction time does not directly affect the elapsed ET, the elapsed time, and here's why. ET is a measure of the car's performance. It is the time it takes for the vehicle to travel the specific distance once it starts moving. The timing system for ET begins when the car breaks the starting beam as it launches. Reaction time is a measure of the driver's skill. It's the time it takes for the driver to respond to the green light and initiate the car's movement. The reaction time clock starts when the green light illuminates and stops when the car leaves the staging beam, right? Two separate clocks. Correct. So Garthog says a drag race is not just about speed, but also about a combination of reaction time and how quickly a car can get down the track. And that's in, well, not just in heads-up racing, but in bracket racing also, which is basically a lot more, I think, bracket racing is a lot more based on ET than, because there's more rules built around, what you're allowed to go is how quick you can get there. Not necessarily how fast you are, but how quick you are. And that's what I'm trying to wrap my head around is, in my mind, a lot of being fast is quick. But that's not necessarily the case. Just because your car is fast doesn't mean that you can win the races. And according to this, it's not solely based on reaction time, has no bearing on your ET, but it does have a bearing on winning the race. It has a big bearing on winning the race. Because you can't win if you don't start. And the person that starts the quickest or is more efficient at that has a better chance of winning because it's harder to overcome that head start that they have unless your car can mile per hour faster out the back. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you can win. So I'm not going to dive into torque versus horsepower because I think that's what really kind of dictates a lot of more torque, quicker out of the hole if you can get the traction, quicker out of the hole, but loses to horsepower in the top. Horsepower doesn't get you out of the hole as quick, but it covers more ground at the top end. And that's the balance, I understand between, being quick with torque and being fast with horsepower. It's the combination of the both that makes the win. So let's see what it says. Let's go on and say, think of them as two separate clocks. ET clock starts when the car moves and breaks the staging beam, ends when the car crosses the finish line. Reaction times starts when the green light comes on and ends when the car moves and breaks the staging beam. How reaction time indirectly influences the outcome. While reaction time doesn't change how quickly the car covers the distance, it absolutely affects the outcome of the race. First to the finish line. The winner of the drag race is the first car to cross the finish line without committing a foul. This depends on both the car's ET and the driver's reaction time. A car with a slightly slower ET can still win if its driver has a significantly better reaction time. Here's the example. Car A reaction time is 0.10 seconds. ET's 10. Car B reaction time is 0.20 seconds. ET is 9.955 seconds. Even though car B has a quicker ET, meaning its car is very fast over the quarter mile, car A will cross the finish line first. Car A's total time, reaction time plus ET, 10.1 seconds. Car B's total time, reaction time plus ET, is 10.15 seconds. So why didn't it just say that before? Which that helps me make a little more sense out of, how quick cars versus, fast cars play out a little differently. In this scenario, car A wins due to the better reaction time, even though its car wasn't as quick overall. In conclusion, reaction time is crucial for winning races, but it's a measure of the driver's responsiveness, not the car's inherent speed or acceleration, which ET measures. They are distinct but equally important factors in drag racing. So that little example makes more sense to me than just saying, reaction time and ET time are two separate clocks, that, influence the outcome of the race. So let's go back up here. And see this is our comparison. Okay, so now this little bullet point makes a little more sense to me. Right here, let me get that down where you can see it. Reaction time is how quickly the driver reacts to the green light. It doesn't affect the elapsed time. Yeah, I understand that better now. But a good reaction time is crucial for winning close races. In this example, a 0.15 second reaction time is a decent reaction time. It's hard to believe that Top Fuel makes 10,000 horsepower. I mean, how is that even possible, it seems like? All right, so 60 foot. This is the time it took the car to travel the first 60 feet from the starting line. It's a key indicator of the car's launch and initial acceleration. A lower 60-foot time generally leads to a better ET. Here, 1.85 seconds shows a decent launch. 330 foot, this is the time to the 330 foot mark. Hello? It shows the progress of the acceleration in the first half of the track. So that's not the first half of the track. That would be the first quarter of the track. Eighth mile is half the track. The elapsed time to begin the eighth mile, the 660 foot mark. And the eighth mile per hour is the trap speed at the eighth mile mark. The 1,000 foot time to the 1,000 foot mark, this is less common but can be used for comparison. And the quarter mile ET is the elapsed time for the entire quarter mile, 1,320 feet. In this example is 12.5 seconds. This is the primary number used to determine the winner. It represents the average speed over the entire run. So it represents the average, not the average time, the specific time of the entire run. Trap speed, which is the average speed of the car over the last 66 feet before the finish line. This example is 105 miles per hour. This indicates the car's peak power and how well it's accelerating towards the end of the run. So I always thought the miles per hour was right at the end when you cross the finish line, but it's saying this is the 66, the last 66 feet. I wonder why 66 feet. Why not make it the last 60 foot just like the first? You have the first 60 foot. It kind of shows you the acceleration of the car, and then the last 60 foot should show you the speed of the car. Okay, how time and speed relate here. The ET, 12.5 seconds, tells you the total time it took to cover the quarter mile distance. A lower ET means the car is quicker overall. The trap speed, 105 miles per hour, tells you how fast the car was traveling at the very end of the 12.5 second run. A higher trap speed suggests the car has a good top end power. Hypothetical comparison. Let's say another car in lane 2 had a time slip that looked like this. Its reaction time was 0.2, 60 foot, 2 seconds, 330 foot, 5.4, 8th mile, 8.1, 1,000 foot, 10.6, quarter mile, 12.4 at 102. Lane 2 has a slightly quicker ET at 12.4 seconds versus 12.5 seconds, meaning they won the race. However, Lane 1 has a higher trap speed of 105 miles per hour versus the 102, suggesting their car might have more power on the top end even though they were slightly slower overall in this particular run. This could be due to a better launch by Lane 2 or making up for potential less powerful top end. This example illustrates how both ET and trap speed provide different but valuable information about a car's performance in a drag race. Racers use this data to diagnose their car's strengths and weaknesses and make the adjustments for better performance. So if we did the math here like they showed last, reaction time was 0.2. ET was 12.4. So you add that together, and that's 12.6. And the first car reaction time was 1.5, and the quarter mile is 12 point, let's see, reaction time was 0.15, quarter mile time was 12.5, which gives it 12.65, which I don't know my hundredths and thousandths, but it does make it the slower car by just a teeny tiny bit. Teeny tiny bit. Slightly quicker ET. Right. Brittany Force holds the top fuel speed record at 341.59 miles per hour. 3.667 seconds in the quarter mile this year. That's fast. That's super duper fast. So I wish it would give me a cursor. How can a faster car beat a quicker car? So I ask it, how can a faster car beat a quicker car? And here's the key factor is reaction time. So once again, my brain has hit on the core of what makes drag racing more than just about having the fastest car. Here's how a faster car, one with a lower potential ET, can lose to a quicker car. No, that's not what I asked. I asked, how can a faster car beat a quicker car? Bet. I said bet. Beat the quicker car. Let's see if that makes it. No, no, no. Loses to, no, that's not what I'm saying. No, not at all. Does that question not make sense? How can a faster car beat a quicker car? All right, let's ask it a different way. Can, oh, quit it. Learn to type. Can a faster car beat a quicker car? Why is it giving me two choices? Can y'all see that? Which response is more helpful? Your choice will help Gemini give you more helpful responses. Loading the response may take a moment. So choice A, yes, absolutely. A faster car can indeed beat a quicker car in drag racing. This is one of the most exciting and often debated aspects of the sport, and it boils down to the distinction between trap speed and elapsed time. Or choice B, yes, absolutely. While a quicker car typically wins the race, a faster car can indeed beat it under certain circumstances. And here's how. Whoa, whoa, slow down now. Quicker car gets it done quicker over the same distance. The faster car gets all the speed later on the top end. Uh, Huh. Now I don't know which one makes more sense. How am I supposed to choose? I don't know. You're supposed to highlight it. All right. Scenario 1, superior reaction time. Quicker car, low ET, but has slower reaction time. Faster car, slightly higher ET, but much better reaction time. Let's see. If RT is the same, can the faster car still win? Yes, even if the reaction times are identical, the faster car can still win against a quicker car. And still yet, it says the decisive factor is ET. When reaction times are the same, the winner is solely determined by which car has the lower elapsed time. While a faster car might have a higher ET, the key understanding with ET and trap speed, lap time is the total time, and we're just chasing our tails. But it says it can be done, and I just don't understand. Scenarios where a faster car loses. No, that's not what I was wanting to know. Let's take this last question. We'll copy this. And let's see if I can wake up Grok. Let's see if it'll get it in drag racing. Can a faster car beat a quicker car? Let's see what Grok says. Grok was unable to finish replying. So, Grok is broketed. All right, so I did learn something. Oh, it wasn't much, but I did learn something. I hope you all, Grok, right now, learned more than me or knew more than me on that. So basically, it's hard for a fast car to beat a quick car. That's what I took away from this whole mess. So reaction time is crucial. Even though it doesn't affect the ET time, ET and reaction time combined make winners. That's what you got to know. So it's the delicate balance between, getting off the line and not making mistakes and having a quick car. So potentially a quicker car is better. But to have a quicker car, you got to have more torque. But, and I'll just put this out there, turbo cars are fast, but they're not always torquey. But yet they win quite a few races because they out mile per hour a quicker car. Just saying. So one day I hope to have a turbo car, and maybe I'll find out. But until then, the quicker cars are better, more likely to win more races than a fast car. You got to have a car that gets fast quick. How's that? That's what you got to do. You got to have a car that gets fast quick. And don't have Gemini draw you a drag racing Christmas tree. Ooh, excuse me. With one green light and one red light. Because it won't come out correctly. You got to cut a good light. Did you see my Christmas tree thumbnail? You got to cut a good tree. Oh, 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 oh. Well, that's a dumb joke. All right. 50 minutes. Garthog, I appreciate you coming around. You should have went to street fights tonight. It was okay. I saw a Tesla go 144 miles an hour. That's fast. I think a motorcycle went 145. Yeah, it was reaction. See, this is what always blows my mind. It really stunk off the line. It just pulled out like it was pulling out of a red light. But then after about I guess, I don't know, I don't pay much attention to the timing marks indicators on the track, but I would say after the first 60 foot, that thing was quick. I'll say quick because it went really fast. I wish I could remember it CT, but I don't. I just remember it was like super fast. And I thought, my gosh. And then, the bike went, I'm sure there was one that went 145. But, yeah. And I guess in my mind, a lot of this is when they line up at street fights, they are not really, most of the time, compatible, or they're not up. There's just random, unless a lot of those Harley guys, they get up there and they know how to, get up side by side, and it's a pretty close race. Sometimes you get those, really fast, crotch rocket bikes that, just zoom, and they're gone. And, when you're watching it, it makes it seem like, well, that wasn't a fair race at all. And, it's just because it's random. They get up there. And then if you're really drag racing in classes, then you're going to be very equally matched. Reaction time, traction, all that stuff's going to be really critical because you're so evenly matched. If it's a mismatch race, then, it's like a quick car, can't beat a 341 mile per hour car. So anyway, because that makes that car really quick at 3.667 seconds. So anyway, if you've made it this far through the video, or if you've skipped to the end, I appreciate anything you've done to watch it. Put yourself through the pain and the agony. Like, subscribe to the channel. Leave me a comment. Whatever. There you go. Toodles. See you later. Tell me you liked it. Tell me you didn't like it. Tell me how stupid it was. Tell me what the stupid Christmas tree. Why did, Gemini draw that? I don't know. I have no idea. But anyway, appreciate it. Come back next Thursday, 9 o'clock, my Fridays. All right. For another live show. Thank you. Bye-bye.